Bob Nagy, AB5N back here. Well, of course, another radio, right? About 11 years apart. You know what happens? The sunspot cycle. And every couple of decades, the manufacturers put out radios specifically for 10 meters, multi-mode radios, to capture all the fun out there on 10 meters when it opens up, and boy, has it been open. So about 20 or maybe 30 years ago, maybe 3 cycles ago, we had the Radio Shack radios, Uniden radios and such. They're 25-watt radios, not bad at all. But this time around, the Chinese are into it, and here's the Radioddity QT-60. Interesting radio. Price is up a little bit, not about 25% higher than it was 30 years ago, but this is now completely different technology. And this thing offers a lot of the little perks that you get on the modern SDR type of radios in there. So there's digital signal processing going on, plus it's 60 watts. And it covers 24 megahertz, our 12-meter band, as well as 10 meters. So with a little snipperino, which I'll show you. So let's take a look at the radio. So the QT-60 is what I call a large mobile radio. It isn't as big as a 706, but it's fairly deep. It's interesting because when we open it up, we'll show you there's not a lot in there. They could have made it smaller, but it's certainly a manageable size. The front's got all your standard controls on it. We'll go through all of them over here. Most of the stuff you're used to over here. Volume is also the on and off knob, which is sort of nice. A lot of the Chinese radios, that's the case. My connector is an RJ45, we're used to that. Microphone quality is decent. Volume control. Our RF gain and power controls are concentric here. So the outer one, the little one, is the RF gain. And you can tell you're on the noise floor that that meter comes up off the 0. And the outer one is the power control. So you've got linear power control, which is sort of nice over here. On the right-hand side over here, you've got your clarifier and squelch, also the concentric knobs here. So the squelch is the outer one, that. And the inner one is the clarifier, which is always on, and you can see it operating over here in the frequency. So it's not, there's no detent center position. When you get to the center, just be sure you're on 0, because sometimes I've got in there and I go, wow, somebody's off frequency here. Well, there isn't an on and off knob for the clarifier in this case, the RIT. So basically, you got to be sure it's on 0. And in the menus, you can adjust it for receive and transmit. And then your VFO dial is on the bottom right over here. And it is a classic mobile detent dial, like so. And how you use it is, when you first turn it on too, it will beep every time you turn it, and that's a bit of a pain in the rear. So you can turn that off, I think the beep button right over here, and then it doesn't beep anymore. But default is going to be tuning over here in the finest increments. I believe it's 100 hertz. Looks like 100 hertz to me, and that's adequate for getting around. But if you want to bump it up to the next one, you just press in, and it increments to the next increment over there. And actually, we're at 10 cycles and up to 1 kilohertz. So there we go. But 6 seconds after you press it, it reverts back to the finest tuning over here. Now notice also when you do increment up to a higher tuning level, the number before you does not zero out. So if I left this on 5 and then incremented up to the next one, I'd be stuck on 5. I wouldn't be on 0, 0. And a lot of people are on even frequencies. So you have to watch that. Be sure that your last digit is on 0 before you move up, or any preceding digit, because it doesn't automatically zero out like a lot of radios do when you go to the next reading, the next increment. So on the top right over here, you're going to see the G, and that is the letter of the 6 selected band segments that you can select with the band button over here. So as we hit these, we can see that they're incrementing through the different bands, and we're going all the way up from 24 megahertz all the way up, and you can change these to anything you want, by the way. As I said, the structure of this is such that once you have it clipped, you have 40 tunable memory channels, I'm going to call them. In other words, memory channels that are tunable on each of the 6 selections that you've got here. So that's a lot of memory channels in there, but I'm calling them memory channels, do not remember the mode. So you can set up your FM repeaters on one of these, but it won't go into FM when you select that memory. You've got to change the mode, and that's easy enough to do with the first button over here. Boom, increments through your modes. The leftmost button over here is the frequency and sort of VFO memory button. So if you hit it, all of a sudden you're in memories like this, and you can increment through the memories, and then hit it again to show what frequency that memory is. It's, it's somewhat intuitive. If you hold in the band button over here, you're going to get the tone selection. In other words, turn on, in this case it turns on the echo, but if you're in FM it turns on the tone. And also, this is the repeater selection on the far left over here. So these buttons have two functions as you use them. Hold it in and press it momentarily. Something to note on this radio is that whatever the design of the frequency synthesis is, the circuit is not able to deliver a fast enough lockup so that it enables you to tune without the audio dropping out. So I think they're doing an automatic speaker mute in between each time you increment the frequency, no matter what setting you're on over here. It's going to blank it out for a second. I'm going to look into the circuit and see what's going on over there as far as probably muting the audio amplifier for a split second while the circuit locks up. But even down on 24 megahertz here, the sensitivity is just fine. Here's your FT8, ubiquitous FT8, and FT4 above it. If you tune slow enough, it's not too much of a pain in the butt. And the detent on this knob is rather hard. It'll probably loosen up after a while. On the rear of the radio, we have one of the holdovers from the CB days over here. That's the PA speaker output, so you can put it in PA mode, put a speaker in your car and talk to passers-by. The power connector is sort of a really old-style one, but of course it comes with the power connector. You could change that out to an Anderson power pole if you want. Standard PL259, SO239 connector over here. It is at least Teflon and silver on the center pin. The heatsink is absolutely adequate size for the job at 60 watts, and I haven't really felt any heat buildup. Again, the data connector is only for firmware updates, and the extension speaker connection is on the rear. Now, there's no reason we couldn't add another connector here for PTT and TX line audio in to use this on FT8. But then again, I don't see why you couldn't just come in through the RJ45 as well if you wanted to. We can make an adapter for that. Just got to drop down, the audio to the right level. With a resistor, T-network would work perfectly fine, so watch out for people making little accessories and mods on that. Taking a look at the inside of the QT-60, you can see there is a lot of extra real estate in here. Well, you could add stuff if you wanted. I don't know why they didn't shorten it up about 3.5 inches, but they didn't. Construction quality is typical of today's radios. No surprises over there. And they did do some of their homework over here, which was nice. Like I said, beefy heatsink, finals are under here, easily replaceable driver and finals, inexpensive. On the power input over here, very nice. They actually added a couple of ferrites coming in there for noise suppression. That's pretty sweet. Heatsink over here. Internally to keep temperatures down. Heatsink on this IC over here, which is to keep temperatures down. That's nice. And here is the modification. Let's get a close-up on it. All one needs to do is to clip this white wire in the center and move this jumper from that position to this position. There's 3 pins on it, so it comes in the forward position. Just pick it up and move it to the rear position, towards the rear of the radio, and that's it. You're ready to go. Gotta say, the speaker's of nice size, nice quality, and it makes lots of sound for you. No problem.
California. Is that Northern California? Over. Yeah, very close to Oregon. 100 miles south. Takes me about an hour and a half. I guess, to drive at 60, 65 miles an hour up to the top of California. And I really like living up here. It's away from a lot of... For example, Brian, where I live in Redding, I mean, nobody parks on the street.
Zero Mike November Echo CQ CQ Mike Zero Mike November Echo Mike Zero Mike November Echo CQ CQ Mike Zero Mike November Echo Mike Zero Mike November Echo CQ.
Gracias 73. This is Alpha Oscar 100 radio. Kilo Delta 2 Yankee Quebec Sierra 59. 73, thank you. QR set. Very good to station, okay? 73, good luck. QSL 73.
RF gain.
CQDX. Papa United 5, Whiskey, Mike Alpha, CQDX.
Kilo 2 Alpha Echo Delta, you're 59 New York, roger.
QSL Kilo 2 Alpha Echo Delta, also 59, thank you. This is Alpha Oscar 100 radio. Alpha Charlie 4. Alpha Charlie 4 again.
Different levels of digital noise reduction, but the signal does pop through quite nicely. I like to leave it on about 1.
There's a station calling on top of you all the time, and it's really annoying. Norway 1 Delta Radio Oscar, is that correct?
QSL.
Yeah, you're about a 5 and 4. You say you're running 10 watts, over?
10 watts from the state of Vermont, 10 watts.
Yeah, state of Vermont, and what is your name, over?
The name is Al. Alpha Lima, always late, the wife says.
Now, I missed your name. Could you say again your name?
So as you see, the digital noise reduction works quite well.
Alpha Lima, Al.
Okay, Al in Vermont, thank you very much, and difficult because there is one or two stations calling on top of all the stations I'm trying to work, especially QRP. Thank you.
Let's talk about the functions of the buttons on the front, which some of the writing on here is not obvious what it is. But the ones you use often, you're going to really be able to memorize quite quickly. Again, the menu button, if you just hold it in, you get to the menus, and when you turn the main VFO knob, it increments through the 23 menus. And when you want to adjust one, say number 21, which is digital noise reduction, you press it in, and then you, I went to the wrong one. Press it in and then adjust your value. And you got it where you want it. You hit it again. Press menu and we're out again. Mode is obvious. That's going to increment through your different modes. You've seen that a little bit earlier. And I believe there's even a menu setting where you can exclude the PA or exclude one of the modes. So I've just got the ones that I use on there. No surprises there. When you're in FM, this will turn the tone squelch on, and that's for, tone encode, tone decode, and it rotates through those three. Dual watch is DW. We see that on a lot of the Chinese radios. I don't think really has too much function right here. But this also has a weather receive mode with alert on it, so you can have it sort of keeping an ear out for the weather emergency tones coming through. Also in the DW, for some reason it allows you to pop up 10 kilohertz if you hold it in. It's odd. There we go. Popping up 10 kilohertz. I don't know what that exactly is about, but maybe you guys do. The Roger beep is the next one. Not many of us are going to be using that, and also the beep on the buttons and the beep on the tuner, which you want to turn off for sure. Noise blanker function is next over here. What is amazing is the noise blanker works well in this radio. I mean, I've got very expensive radios that the noise blanker doesn't do much. This actually does a good job. Also, if you hold it in, you get the high cut, so it just rolls off the high end of the frequencies on receive. For me, my ears do that automatically, so I really don't find that to be much use. You might try it out and see if it helps you at all. This is your scan when you want to scan through memories and that kind of thing. Pretty self-explanatory. And a skip function, I guess, where you can skip different memory channels. This is how you put the memories in and store the main memories. It does have 6 main storage memories, which is odd because once you clip it, you've got 40 tunable memories on each of your 6 main band segments that are selectable. So I don't find that to be much use at all. And you can also set up an emergency channel here. You go to channel 19 on CB for that bank. I'm sure it goes to 9 or 19 there. Also, you can lock the entire, control system here. Remember, if you do see echo up here, you've got to go into the menu and turn off the echo. And echo has adjustments for the amount of delay and the volume of the echo. Those are 18 and 19 in your menu system. So just watch for that. Otherwise, you're going to sound like a chicken bander. One of the ways that you could set up the memories if you like, and I've done this on a few of these band selection segments, is to set them up 5 or 10 kilohertz increments for each one. So if I go back to the VFO mode, and then I go to channel and go to the next one, I'm just incrementing up the band. Sort of a quick way to tune up the band. If you wanted to go to channel mode, turn your knob, you can fly up the band. You can do 5, 10 kilohertz increments, whatever you want to do. Again, a really good idea is to go ahead and set up your 10 meter FM repeaters, 29.2, 6.2, 6.4, 6.6, and 6.8 on several of these channels, and then have all the popular PL tones on, say, 5 different selections for 29.62, have all of the 5 most popular tone frequencies memorized in there so that you can just go through them. That way you won't have to change tones for the different repeaters which are on the same frequency on 10 meters. Now, it's sort of sad that it just doesn't display the PL tone frequency. You've got to look on your list in the back of the manual over here and, know that 88.5 is number 8 on your PL hit list there. Also, it has the DCS, digital coding ones too, if you would ever possibly use those. So a slight bit of inconvenience, but once you've got them set up in your memories, you're good to go. All of the weather channels are also supported, and you just sort of increment through those too. So I guess the question is this radio a go at $259? Well, I always have to think, how much fun am I going to get out of it versus what else I could buy at $259? That would be a mid-grade handy-talkie from one of the big 3, antenna tuner or something like that, but I don't think I'd get as much fun out of it as I'd get out of this rig. And quality and reliability of this radio seems to be okay so far. I don't expect it to poop out. If it works for the first couple of weeks, it'll work forever, or its full service life. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up for sure, and especially if you're going to be alive for succeeding sunspot cycles, you could have more fun in the coming 3 decades from this. So until next time, take care.